Okay, so let's welcome to the office hour. We'll start that again. Hello, Carla and Bessa, um, and other colleagues. So what this is going to be is a quick overview, first a presentation, and then question and answer. So first thing, where do we start? D2L. How do we think about D2L? What is it? Everyone here has used D2L, but I don't know if you've thought about it. It's really a filing cabinet. Okay, so it's the place to access course materials, turn in assignments. So I want to walk you through D2L, but yeah, we're gonna look at that. Let's just dive into that. Okay, so here we go. D2L. Are you seeing my screen, or is it just still capturing the presentation?
It just says D2L and has a little filing cabinet.
Okay. Let me just got a lot of apps open. Okay. So now you see the actual D2L, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So we're just going to go into section 2. And what you see on the right-hand side is the filing cabinet for all your materials. Okay? And you got your syllabus. Straightforward. Right? The nuanced part, and I'm going to go to the student view because sometimes when you're in the faculty view, it shows it slightly differently. The nuanced part is when you go into the content with modules. When you start module 1, you go in and you do each of those things, and then you just have to check it off. Can you see that checkbox?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's just what you do to show that you've completed the module, is you check those boxes off. So when we're in module 1, you can see a checklist version as well, and you can just check those off. But you actually have to do them to check them off, right?
So the module is different than the city, right?
Yeah, so city is one of the assignments, and so I can show you. Great lead to the next thing. So if we go back to the course, we have a section in the filing cabinet for assignments. And here you can see the major assignments. And if we go to the syllabus, we know that the city training is due this Sunday. We click on that, and that's going to give us an assignment overview. And here, I tried to exchange that file that we've updated these directions. So this will take you there for the most part, but the IRB has updated the directions. So I'm going to just swap those directions out on the fly. Just so we're talking about the same thing. So I'm going to go to assignments, city training.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to change this file. Somehow it didn't keep when I changed it a minute ago. And I'll notify. Okay, there we go. Oops, that might be why. Let me see, assignments. Sorry about the slight delay.
It's okay.
PDFs. Yep, that's the new PDF. And I'm going to change it. There we go. So for some reason it wasn't showing up right, but this gives you the directions for the city training. And is anybody having any trouble with that or going smoothly?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I think I did one already, and I don't remember the name of it offhand, but I was just wondering, my question was like, is module 1 and 2 different than the city trainings that we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we go to syllabus and we scroll down, let's go to full screen with that. And you can see here on the syllabus, city training, right here. And then you can see modules 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then, so when you go to assignments,
Oh, I think.
we've got city training, and there's the directions there, and then there's a separate space for modules.
Okay.
Module 1 and module 2.
Okay.
So here's module 1, and here are the items in the module, and then here's module 2, and here are the items. So you should pay careful attention, and if you see with module 1, you have this Google Scholar, Zotero and Google Scholar video from the module. That's the cue to do the activity in the module. So people ask for that, to have the checklist item for that task from the module. So you've seen on Slack people posting their citations. That's from the module. That's one of the tasks.
Okay.
Yeah, good question, Bessa.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So that's a quick overview of D2L.
Dr. Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. Dwayne.
Approximately how much time does it take to complete the city thing?
Yeah, so the city training for human subjects researchers takes about, they say 1.5 hours, but it'll take you a little more or a little less depending on your comfort level. Carla, you're laughing. Was it less or more?
It was not an hour and a half. I sat down and I was like, oh, I think it took me like 3 days.
It took you 3 days.
I mean, not 3 full days, but like,
Yeah.
coming back to it, and because it's a lot. It's just time consuming.
I did one of them. I completed one, and it took me I worked on it for 2 days, and I think each time I sat down and did it, I spent at least 3 hours. It took me a long time. Yeah, and I just finished one. So that my question is do we need to do 2 of those? Because there was 2 under Portland State. So I finished one.
Okay, so it's very important that you select the right. Have you done this in the past, Bessa? Is that?
Yeah, it showed that I had 2 and 2 that I had started before. So I just went and finished the one that I started. Well, actually, yeah, that I was a little bit further, and it still took me a long time, but I finished one, and I hope it's the one that we need, because that'd be a bummer to have to, because it was really time consuming.
Yeah,
good stuff,
so you'll be all set. So one of the challenges is if you've already enrolled, it kind of shows you some different options, and so it can be a little bit tricky. When you're enrolling afresh, if you follow the directions and just select the group 1 that you're in the research group, it just gives you the course super clearly, this basics, and you do that.
Shoot, yeah, because I've only have one email, and so that I use, and that's the PSU email. So
yeah, that's great. So I am going to write to the IRB just to clarify this, because it's a little bit confusing for people who are already registered and who've done it, but if you do one of those courses, you'll be all set.
Oh, okay.
So
So
the-
I did
basically
one
the
already.
same- It's the same content.
Okay.
Yeah. So this social and behavioral responsible conduct of research course under Portland State, the kind of courses ready to begin. That's great. The one that Eileen found had basically the same name. It's just how PSU's partnered with City. So I don't have a lot of control over that, but I want to just get clarification from them.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions, and that's some of the nuance of it. But regardless, when you finish your course, you're going to go to assignments and turn it in. So you're
Okay.
going to go to City, and you can see a couple of people have already uploaded their certificates.
Oh, I need to do that then. Yeah.
Yeah, so it may take a little longer than the 1.5 hours,
Mhm.
depending on if you know any of that content. If you've read chapter 4, that's kind of a primer on ethics. So it's just kind of how comfortable you are taking the quizzes and doing the readings on the Belmont Report and these principles of human subjects research. So it's all very interesting content. It's fascinating, the history of research. But yeah, good questions, and it's good to commiserate with each other on it took me longer, shorter. I mean, that's just yeah. And Eileen has a question here. Oh yeah, so you can just click on that link. Oh, you're in the conference. You're seeing, yeah, you're in it. You are. It's right here. Look, you're seeing my screen. It just feels weird. It's like virtual. Oh yeah. So if you go here. This is very meta, like seeing myself on the screen, doing. Oh, okay. So your mouse is connected. Participants. And you guys see each other, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, it's just a setting that you have. Oops. Yeah, it's okay. So you can just see the people there. There's a setting for showing a group, and you just have to look at the interface. Yeah, it might be participants.
I think it's a computer thing of the video, the camera, maybe. So it's getting this.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, so I'm going to bounce back over here. So that was a bit of a primer on D2L and some discussion about assignments. The second big tool that we use is Slack. And so the way to think about Slack is as communication and interactivity. So it's the place to talk with each other. It's the place to discuss course content. It's the place where I'm going to be communicating with you in one centralized location. So yeah. I'm going to bounce over to Slack.
Yeah, I like using Slack, actually.
Oh, good.
I think it's a good platform for us.
Great. Let's see, desktop 2.
Can we use Slack to like ask questions about the assignments, about like what, I don't know, just kind of specifics on things in Slack, or like what is Slack exactly used for other than?
Yeah, it's really everything. So can you see Slack up there now?
No.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can't. Okay, let me try that again. Oh, there it is, Slack. Okay, so now you can see Slack. So again, looking at section 2, I can go in general. Oh, Dwayne, nice, you posted your video introduction.
Yeah.
So the logic is that it's not just me commenting on it, right? It's like everybody watching that and getting to know your classmates. So, you can watch that. I watched Connor's, and that was so cool, Connor, hearing about how you're doing the BCBA program.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I know you better, right? Like, seeing you on the video here, I like have some sense.
Yeah.
So then Susie, like I've met Susie, but it was really cool. She had like a more scripted approach. And then Marissa shared a really personal kind of reflection, and even shared that, she has Bell's palsy, and like how the kids just like don't even care. And like, that was like really powerful. And Elizabeth's doing such cool stuff. So I posted like a model of mine, but this is just like the fire stream of communication. So it's a great place to ask questions, because like Eileen's asked me some questions. Dwayne, when you asked me questions before the course started, that was so helpful for me as a teacher. Like, it's just I incorporated that in kind of the communications in the first part. With online learning, you're isolated, right? You're just on your own. So it's great. Like the checklist, the syllabus has that nice clear checklist. The module has the checklist, but still you want to feel connected. So Slack's that way to engage. Yeah. And then there's a random spot where you can click on random and just post random things like pictures of cats. Right? So like I posted that I epoxied my countertop, right? Not really to do with research, it's kind of random, but I saw this fun image of a science t-shirt when I was out this weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, stop, I need to take a picture of that. I'm going to post that to my class. So kind of fun. And then, so occasionally people will post things that should be in random in general, and I'll either reassign it or ask people to, keep that in random, or keep that in under the proposal assignment thread. Sorry, channel. They're not called threads, they're called channels. So you have 3 channels: general, proposal, and random right now. So that's Slack in a nutshell. We also have direct messaging, and we can also do group direct messages. So we can set up a message thread, say between myself, Carla, and Dessa. So you have direct messaging. So let's see, Dwayne's here, so I can say, hello, Dwayne. And so just Dwayne and I can communicate there. Better than email for this purpose, right? I think. It just keeps it all in one place. So this is kind of the future of online learning at like most universities, I believe. PSU is trialing a tool like Slack, but yeah. So it's basically the discussion threads are kind of terrible in Blackboard and D2L. So most people are going to external discussion tools like Slack.
It's definitely faster than email. Email's
It's typically faster than email. It has a nice interface. It takes a little getting used to. It's a little bit like Facebook. It has that, or social media tools. It has that psychology to it. You want to check it and be up to date, but yeah, keep it simple.
So for the proposal assignment, what exactly is that? I feel like I'm missing something.
Oh, great segue. Okay.
Yeah.
So your grant proposal. This is a departure from previous work in the course. Typically, we did a fake research proposal. And we said, oh, you can act like you have $1 million. You can act like you have all of your country's resources behind you. You can do a randomized clinical trial, knowing full well that even most special ed researchers would have a hard time pulling off a really nice clinical trial, even if they had decent funding, right? Like, it's possible, but for a master's student, this is wishful thinking. I think it's so fun to get to play the role of a researcher. I'm so happy that you get to do that in your master's core. But for this assignment, people just were kind of going through the motions. It felt like busy work. And so I really thought, I talked to students, I was like, how could this become more meaningful? And so for Dwayne, who's teaching out there, I know there's things that Dwayne would want to do next year as a teacher that he'd like to try out, that he'd probably like some money for. Connor, for you as a new student in the BCBA program, there might be something you'd like to try out, something that you are inspired to do. I think you should write a real grant. And so that's where this came from, is knowing how to write a grant gives you the same skills that you would learn in writing a fake research proposal, but writing an actual grant proposal is going to be so much more real for you. So for you, Carla, I can't remember what you and Bessa are doing next year. What are you guys doing?
Oh, PBIS.
But I mean, what are you doing for your work? Are you teaching?
Oh, I'll be teaching in the behavior classroom.
Okay, so you're teaching in the behavior classroom. How about you, Bessa?
I don't have a job lined up just yet, but teaching somewhere SLC, I'm hoping. Yeah.
So whether you have a job and you're getting a grant, or you're looking for a job and applying for a grant, both look really good and are really helpful. So let's just take Carla's because it's a little bit more straightforward. So yeah. Carla, you're teaching in a classroom. Is there anything you want to do? Is there any stuff you want, right? You are going to go and reflect. You're going to think about, where do I want to go? It may be taking a walk or some soul searching. It might be just going through and empathizing with what your pain points were. It might be then defining out. You go, oh, we didn't have enough storybooks. I believe that we should have a lot of storybooks in my classroom. So my grant, I'm going to define out what that would look like. I'm going to brainstorm around that, and then I'm going to make a prototype of that. And I'm going to propose that this prototype get funded, because I don't really have the $500 to go to Powell's to get all the books I would want. So I'm going to write a grant proposal for $500. I'm going to have a lit review. I'm going to have a nice goal or aim. I'm going to show a gap, and the gap might be something like, I'll jump ahead. We're going to organize our thoughts and use this template, right? And I'm going to be showing you this template, but it starts with getting your need defined and filling in this gap. And so this first grant proposal topic, you don't have to do the full graphic organizer. That's for the outline. This graphic organizer for your topic is just to get you started. And so that's where we start, Connor. You write out your topic in your own words, and then you empathize and try to define out that gap. So Carla, I made that up that you want the storybooks, but if that was your area, we might say something to the effect of, we know storybooks are good. We know they're useful for engaging in literacy experiences, and we don't have enough of them, and we don't have the money, or the school won't buy them or provide them. Or maybe the ones we have don't have enough diverse representations of the cultural groups broadly constructed we want to share. So therefore, we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to get that.
Okay. So your school needs something. You write a grant asking, will you provide this service for me?
That's one way to look at it. It might be you have an action research question. You go, I know trying out this curriculum here is awesome, right? So I want to try out that curriculum and then test it and see how it goes. And so you can skip ahead and read the action research chapter and look at how you would try something, reflect, try something, reflect. This doesn't have to be research. This is not connected to your master's project. This is for you. It's too hard to coordinate that across the 3 terms right now. That's not how we're doing it. So this is separate from your master's 2-term project. So I tried to lay that out in the modules and show you. But I'll keep reminding everybody of that, and you'll have to remind each other that this is for you. You get to do a cool project. It's your grant. Now, if you're going to take it to research level, you have to work with your agency to make sure you get the right approvals. And if you're going to do it through PSU, you're going to maybe have to submit an IRB application. But that's you don't have to do it as that style of research. You may do it as this just project in your class. It may just be a class project that you do. But you can still get it funded. You can still write a grant. And so that's why what I said is there's 3 different paths. There may be other paths to sponsorship, but you might try some sort of crowdfunding. Friends and family may want to help you get those storybooks, Carla. Right? You may look at Get Ed funding and go on that website. With your agency, you may find a real grant opportunity, or a traditional grant opportunity, I should say. There's nothing unreal about using Donors Choose. You can present a really compelling grant proposal and then get real funding. Same thing with a special request. And I really hope someone does this. It's not required, any of this. You don't actually have to apply. But I want you to act as if you're actually going to apply. But you may walk into a bank. Let's say you really like the Timbers. You might go down to the stadium and find out who you could talk to and actually just hand them an envelope with the letter. If you love, the big box stores are going to be trickier. They're going to have their own mechanisms. But any small business is going to probably consider giving you something. And so, yeah. So those are the doors you can go through. And it's scaffolded. So this first grant proposal topic is all you have to worry about. And then where you're going to end up with is you're going to basically fill out an adaptation of this full template. And so that information is going to launch very soon. So for Sprint 2, you're going to get access to the more full scope of the proposal. And right now, you don't have to worry too much. You just fill this out, basically, and get started. And then in Module 1, you're doing a Zotero assignment where you could explore that topic and grab a couple of articles and post them to Slack. But then those could just be other articles. So there's openness, and then it gradually gets to very specific. And then you'll know how to write a grant, as well as knowing how to do background research and literature review. So I hope you can keep it real and have fun with this assignment. I hope it's something that you're passionate about and that it's really where you want to go. So that's a little bit about the grant assignment. Yeah.
Do we just, when we submit that grant proposal topic, are we just submitting the graphic organizer?
Yes. And so the directions
so
are
simple.
Yeah, and then on the back, right, notice the 3 items at the bottom where it says on the back, add some resources such as articles, web links, etc. And then on the back, draw a picture of your grant. And so that might be just sketching out your own kind of logic model. That could be very open-ended. And then on the back, please also describe the sponsorship door that you want to take and why you'll take that one. So it's pretty straightforward. It's getting your idea out. But then you're going to get some feedback on that. I hope you can share that with your classmates or a trusted classmate. I hope you can give feedback on others. This part will be fun. You kick it around, but I mean, this is your thing. Use this how you want to. Like, I'm sitting next to Eileen here. She may end up writing a grant that restructures special education in Cameroon. Like, that's incredible. But it's no less incredible to change the life of your classroom or change the life of yourself. I mean, you could propose, I need to do this professional development. I can't afford it. Here's the literature on why this is important. Here's why this is a gap. Fund me. So you can be creative, and I'm going to encourage you to generate ideas. With this assignment, that's what you're prompted to do. Yeah. And then I'm so excited about this for you guys because I love writing grants and doing projects. But what it does is everything you learn, you can compare it back to something very real and authentic. So as you're learning these methodologies, you can be considering them. Oh, could I incorporate some of that in mine? When we get into the quantitative and you're going to make this survey, you might be able to use that to get some feedback or as your measure in your project. So anyways, I don't want to go too much further into that. Before just, I just want to underline this. I know this is in the module content, but that you know this process. You just know it by another name. It's the scientific method. Right? It's this cycle of asking a question, learning about what's already been done on it, right? Literature review, developing a plan to test your hypothesis, doing it and implementing your plan, analyzing and collecting data, and then reporting or synthesizing what you learned. So that process is embedded in educational research. Sometimes it takes the form of qualitative studies where I could just start interviewing Eileen. I keep putting Eileen into the conversation. She's being a little shy. But we could talk to her about her experience in Cameroon. And that would be terrific. That would be very valuable qualitative research. We could have her give us contact information and we could interview families that she worked with. We could then code that data and make sense of it. We could run a focus group or we could conduct some sort of online focus group. That could be qualitative research. We could go and observe something in a case study format. Qualitative research can also be mixed with quantitative research. And in special ed, we often are very database, right? The BCBA cohorts in this class. You're going to be looking often for the graph, the single case design graph data, right? But you can mix that up. You can get that data and then you can interview folks about that data. You can do mixed methods. For this grant proposal, you may not even do research. It might just be a class project. So don't feel pressure, but it could emulate research. You could collect the same data you would collect in research, but it just might be a class project. So you don't have to go through the rigors of a research protocol. Okay, so along with the assignment and the content, right? So you have the readings, the assignments, the modules. You're going to study these terms. This is for you. So I want you to be fluent. I want behavioral fluency with these terms. So I've got a lot of them I've been writing down and gathering. So I'm going to release the list of terms that will grow a bit. But you're going to have each of the terms. You're going to know exactly what's on the test. And then we're going to have some flashcards. We're going to do some fun things on how to help you master these. But they're important. So when you do the rest of the research core, the 597, the design course, and the 506, the project implementation, having these terms down will help you. Terms like validity and independent variable. So you have to turn your sound off. You just put your sound on. No problem.
But why am I not seeing Sunday?
Oh. But you have to turn your sound off.
It's off.
Oh, no, it's not. So just, you just turn your sound, mute your sound, mute your audio, and turn your sound off to your computer. Because we already have the sound here. No problem. When you have two
Hear
when
that
you have
feedback.
two Zoom accounts going in the same room, you always have to mute one of the.
Yeah, now you've got an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how it happened.
Just go to your system.
So when is the test?
Okay. Good question. So the test is due Sunday 8/11 during
Okay.
week 7.
Okay. So we have some time.
You have some time to practice. So the best thing you can do is read the chapters and do the modules. But then, like I said, we're getting together some fun ways to study these terms. And so the terms list is going to be on a Google Doc spreadsheet. So the terms will kind of come out, and then you'll get an alert if there's some new terms added.
Okay.
But the bulk of the terms will roll out very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's something to...
And we've had some of those before in some of the other courses.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not everything completely novel. It's just that these terms you're going to want to get pretty fluent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know for me, for the longest time, independent variable and dependent variable, I had to very carefully, cognitively be like, okay, independent variable, that's the intervention. Dependent variable, that's the outcome. Okay, so dependent, okay, outcome. So I'd have to talk that out. And now when someone's like, what's your independent variable? I'm just like, oh, that's just what let me describe my intervention. Okay. I don't second guess myself, but you probably do if you're new to research like I was. So by practicing these, you get them down and someone's like, what's your inter-rater reliability? And you're like, oh, it was definitely above 80%. We're good. And if you're asking yourself, what's inter-rater reliability? In these conversations in your research core, it just makes it harder to keep up, right? So if you get fluent, you're able to use that content towards the aim of the conversation or the project. So, and then the other benefit is reading research. You'll be so much quicker reading research when you have these terms down. Then you can skim and scan, and you just see, oh, dependent variable, oh, measures. Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other thing that's going to really help you through this process is using something like Zotero. So for Dwayne and people who have Chromebooks, they may choose Mendeley if they don't want to get into installing like the Linux version and stuff. So I have another video that's like Mendeley versus Zotero, but just try out Mendeley. Any of these tools do similar things. But for the module, you have the challenge of, trying it out. So I put the quick video just showing how this can help you. Oh my gosh, when you click and easily add a few citations to your Zotero, and then in one other click, you right-click and can turn those into a APA formatted reference list, it's awesome. So watch the video, you'll be psyched. It's a 3-minute video. But does anybody want to see that now? Would that help?
Yeah, actually, I would.
I would.
That
You
would
want to see it? Okay.
the way
so,
my understanding is you just type in your citation and it formats it for you. You don't have to type it out?
Let me show you. So it's just going to take a little finesse because I have so many things open. So
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
going to go
Like
to
for the-
Zotero. And so can you see Zotero now?
I think so.
Okay, so what's a topic that someone's interested in?
Oh,
Special, developing special.
Using response cards for classroom engagement.
Okay, so let's do response cards. So I'm going to make a new collection. So basically there's a folder called response cards. And now I'm going to go back to my web browser. And pardon the brief delay. I'm just getting to my Chrome. Okay, so here's Chrome. Now, can you see Chrome?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so do you see Google Scholar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do response cards. Ooh. Okay, so response cards in the classroom. How about in the special education classroom? Or how about just response cards, special education? That's better. Okay, so here's something cited by 113 people, but it's 1996. It's a little bit old. It might be really cool. I'm going to keep going. 2006, effects of response cards on disruptive behavior and academic responding during math lessons by fourth grade urban students. That looks decent, Carla.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's download that. So I'm going to click on it. It brings me to Sage. And then up here, because I've downloaded both Zotero and the Zotero connector, I can click on this Save to Zotero button. It downloads it and downloads both the citation and the full text PDF. So now, just for the sake, I would normally go back to Zotero and show you that, but I'm going to do two. Just so I'm going to go back to Scholar, and I'm going to take a look at this one. It's been cited by 163. I'm going to go look under what has cited that article. So I clicked on Cited By. And now I'm going to look for something very current, so 2018. And so response cards to increase engagement and active participation of middle school students with EBD. What grade do you teach, Carla?
Middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Bingo. Okay. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to click on that little button. And I have that because I downloaded the connector.
Oh.
And I just say that because some people aren't familiar with this. So just by downloading Zotero, if you already know this and it's old hat, just you'll be fluent. But it's just good to see it. And but yeah, so I've downloaded that, and I'm going to go over back to sharing, and let's go back to Zotero. Okay, so I'm back in Zotero. Can you see that I have two citations there?
Yes.
And now what's so cool is it downloaded the full text. So I can just click, and the full text just opened up on my computer. You probably can't see that.
No, but actually that's good to know, because I remember in the past not being able to open journal.
Yeah, so now watch this. This is even better. So I go and highlight those, right-click, and create bibliography from items. Now I can make it an APA citation, 6th edition, automatically. So now I'm going to come over to Word, and I'm going to make a new Word doc, and then I'm going to go over to the sharing, and I'm going to go to Word, and now watch this. I'm just going to paste that. Boom!
Oh,
APA
nice.
citation. Okay, so
Awesome.
Eileen's worked perfectly. We checked it. It was perfectly APA cited, but this second one is correct. Okay. Now, actually, the first one may, in fact, be very close to being correct. because it may be a pre-released print. It may not actually be. This might be the online only version, so you wouldn't have the issue numbers. But it's still the first one is incorrect. So second one has the names, the year, the title. So this one has actually got an error that these should be lowercase. So occasionally you get these weird errors. So you still have to check them, but it's much better to get all this correct content and then have to just tweak little formatting errors.
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't work perfectly, and I think it's good that you saw an example of it not working perfectly, so now you'll check it every time behaviorally. There's an exemplar, but let's go back to Zoom and back to Zotero. But I want you to just see the power of that by just going into Scholar and a couple of clicks. I'm now organizing my paper. I'm organizing my research.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
so Eileen has a quick question. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I see in the
yes.
finals week we have writing a final research report. So
Jake,
how many
hi.
articles are we expected
I'm
to
having a meeting with my class.
number to
What's
cite
that?
our research report?
Oh, so that's just the content. So that's the chapter that you're going to read.
Oh, it's chapter 14.
So that's just the topic.
Okay.
So you won't have to write a full research report until you get to another project or the master's core. You do the design class and then the implement class, basically. They're called like god-awful long names, but it's SPED 597 is design, SPED 506 is implement or deploy. It's a great question. But yeah, you will have a requirement for a minimum number of references for your grant proposal.
How many?
So I have to look at the documentation. I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's something reasonable, like 5.
Mm.
Okay. Well, please, in the final exams, how many questions are we going to have? Because this is not far. It's soon.
So it'll be at least 20. Yeah, at least 20 questions. But yeah, it may be more. The terms are really straightforward though. So if you've studied the terms, like you'll probably get 100%. But if you don't study them, like some of these terms are kind of confusing.
Yes.
But yeah, they're all. I'm not going to put any ones on there that aren't important and useful to you as a scholar and as a special educator.
Is it online or?
Oh yeah, it's going to be online. But then the other thing is, if anybody's nervous about it, just message me and I can either talk you through it or we can come up with some accommodations. I just want you to be successful in getting fluent with the terms.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's go back here and our hour's winding up. So I'm just going to go back to these slides. Okay, so a little bit about Zotero, and people have already started posting their citations. We talked a little bit about City, and then here's the directions that should match up with D2L under assignments. And the reason why you do City is, one, you need it to do research at PSU. So when you get to the SPED 597 and 506 master's course sequence, you'll have needed to have done this. So that's why we do it now, and it just goes well with the content of human ethics and research. All right, so the floor is open. We can discuss any more questions for a few more minutes.
I have a question.
Yeah,
What does BCBA refer to?
Board Certified Behavior Analyst.
Okay, so that's an option for us in this master's program.
so that's an option. It's a separate licensure program. that leads to board certification.
So, okay, so the three prongs are Kiwanis, the PBIS, and the BCBA, right?
No, the BCBA program is a separate, it's just like how you did the special ed teacher licensure program.
Okay.
So the students from the BCBA program some of them are in their second year and they're getting prepared to go into their research core sequence. And some of them are right at the beginning of their cohort. And because I haven't taught in the BCBA program, they're all new students, so they're intermingled, and it's really kind of fun because they bring a lot. And then I think for you special ed students, special ed licensure students, you bring a lot too, because you're out in the schools, and some of the BCBA students might be doing things more organizationally. There's also an early childhood cohort of the 596, so they're in their own separate contained cohort. So you'll only interact with them in these types of office hours or things where it doesn't make sense to do it 3 times over.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions. And but as far as the master's projects, the closest to the BCBA work is the PBIS project. But the nice thing is that there's just going to be 2 courses, Kiwanis, and then this second course that's going to be co-taught by the other instructors. And all of those topics.
So we have 2 options, not 3 options.
You have 2 class options, but then Julia Sparsa Brown, Mary Morningstar, and Sheldon Lohman will each be running their own project inside of that class section.
Okay. Okay.
I think one thing I guess I just want to be clear on what's all due on the July 7th. So I'm looking at the city training is due July 7th. Reading chapters 1 through 4 due July 7th. Well, I mean, yeah. And then, so we've got that proposal assignment from Mod 1 with the Zotero Google Scholar thing. Yes, that should do.
Yeah, so the module has its own checklist. So the way to chunk it is just be like module 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then just do everything inside of that, which includes the Zotero assignment, which includes in module 2 your video introduction.
So the Zotero assignment, I guess I was confused because
that's to complete module 1.
Yeah. So
that's part of module 1.
Yeah, okay. And then module 2, and then putting up that intro video, and that's all.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You got it. And then so as the next modules get released, you might launch into those, and then what's going to happen is all the course content will be available so people can work ahead and finish the course content. So people may end up just focusing down and reading a bunch of chapters, but because you have to read typically before doing the modules, the first modules are being drip fed, if you will, or kind of time released.
Okay. And then one other thing I guess I'm kind of confused about, with that grant proposal topic sheet, is that something that we're printing out and then like drawing out on the back? Like, what is it? Just
it's totally up to you what kind of modalities you use. I just expect that content to be filled out and then uploaded as your assignment.
Okay, so are we finding that like off of the D2L? Yeah,
so in D2L, think about it as the filing cabinet. You go under assignments, and you can download either a PDF version of that graphic organizer or a Microsoft Word version.
Okay.
So this brings up a really good point. So there's this part where you're completing things, and this is an unknown environment, right? You're like, oh, I have to do these things. I haven't done this. So the best way to approach it is to go and look. So for that, think like, okay, so assignments. let me go to D2L and look under assignments and see what's there. Yeah. But it's good to ask questions too, and that's why we have Slack to ask whole group questions. You can always message me independently, but I want you guys to get used to checking the syllabus and then going along with the content in the filing cabinet. So Eileen gave the perfect example. She was like, oh my gosh, the city thing's confusing. I've never done anything like this. And it's like, yes, it is. I agree. That's why we made a very clear checklist. Follow that, and then if you get stumped, check in. So Dwayne also provided a good example. Dwayne tried to get Zotero going and got stuck. He's using Chrome. And so I had to go online and troubleshoot. They've said they're going to have a Chrome-only version, but they don't, right? So Dwayne's going to have to download Linux version and kind of follow those directions, or come up with an alternative. Use Mendeley, or use a computer where you can download either a Mac or PC where you can download Zotero.
But I have a PC.
Okay, so on your PC you should be able to download Zotero and then download the Connect.
I did download it. It just doesn't, when I click on the Google Scholar stuff, it doesn't go to Zotero. So I'll keep playing with it. And if I don't get it fixed, I'll come to you.
Wait, you probably just need to download the connector to Chrome.
I did that too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll keep playing with it. If I don't get it fixed, I'll come and find you and you can help me.
Yeah. And then as Eileen and I talked about, the library, it supports Zotero. So you can always go to the library and get some additional technical support.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then with connectors and things in Chrome, it's always good to reset your computer a couple times. And but yeah. Well, and then is it Rochelle?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Which section are you in?
I'm doing the BCBA.
Oh, great. And then are you in the O2 section or the O3 section?
I have no idea. The O2, I believe.
Do you have the wave picture?
You mean in my D2L?
Yeah.
Or, let me see. I have.
You're in the O2.
The O2. I was like, I think I'm in O2. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So great. Yeah. So Rochelle's in the BCBA program, and are you one of the new BCBA students?
Yes.
Oh, terrific! Welcome to the program.
Thanks.
I'm so excited you're going to learn how to write a grant. Have you ever written one before?
I have assisted a lot of friends. She's a professor at UCLA working on like e-cig research, and so I often help her in writing all of her grants proposals.
What's
Even though
e-cig?
What?
What's e-cig?
Like the vape things and stuff, all of that.
So like electric cigarettes.
Yeah,
Okay.
like so she does a bunch of research. Well, she's a researcher there at USC doing all of that kind of stuff and like cancer and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you in California?
I am. I live in Redondo Beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can you see the ocean?
Not from our current house. We just moved, but I used to be able to.
You could turn the computer so we all could see the ocean.
Yes, it is really hot here today.
So listen, everybody, thank you for participating in this office hour. I'm going to stay on for a little bit, but yeah, we're wrapping up. So if there's any final questions, we can discuss them now, or we can jump on Slack and keep the conversation going.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
to all of you.
Are we going to be getting online like a specific time each week?
So I think so. How are you guys liking this? Do you like the idea of having this available?
Yeah, like throughout the summer, I might not be able to get internet access, but
Absolutely. So that's why we record it. Not everyone's going to be able to make it. And there's no time that the whole group will be able to make, whether we do it in the middle of the night or the morning.
right.
Everyone will have a conflict.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
And then I didn't see that JoJo's there. Hi, JoJo.
Oh, hi.
Which
I'm
program
late.
are you in?
Yeah, I didn't see it. My thing doesn't send me notifications. So I just randomly got on today to start doing coursework and saw that there was a meeting. So I tried to hop on as soon as I could.
Oh, great. Which section are you in?
I'm in the 03.
Oh, you're in 03. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a BCBA student or a special education program student?
I'm BCBA.
Oh,
And
great. Okay.
I'm a new BCBA.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in the new
So-
cohort. Yeah.
And have you met Rochelle?
I have not. No.
Okay. Well,
Hi, I'm in that same program.
so you can connect on Slack, and you two could set up a direct message on Slack and talk with each other. But yeah, so I hope you can also in this class find collaborative opportunities. So that's why we designed the two. It's funny how you were each looking to the side. It kind of looked like you were looking at each other. That was really silly, at least on my screen. But the point is that you two may match up and do the article reviews together.
Oh,
And
that's a
Carly,
good
you may
idea.
have a classmate that you're like, oh, I'm so excited to work with this person, right? But yeah, there's
Awesome.
chances to collaborate, and at each milestone of the proposal assignment, we want you to get feedback from your peers. So it's a way to get to know your classmates, and
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
make it social. So the message is be generous on Slack. Talk with your classmates. So if you want to have friends here and you want to get a lot out of the course, I believe that if you give, you will get. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody, and we'll talk more about the regularity of these types of video office hours.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. I think it's a nice way to stay connected and then also learn vicariously from each other. I mean, people will have to watch the hour to get the video, but we may implement something where we type up a synthesis, a top 5 insights from the office hour or something.
Almost sounds like it could be a comedy show.
I know, yeah. I mean, this is meant to be playful and personal, note the hashtags and the videos. So yeah. And then the random channel on Slack. I mean, we can have fun as we're learning to really geek out with the science of special education.
I have a question for you if you have time and if I'm not holding everyone up.
No, I'm going to just stop the recording.
Okay.